Hi, and thank you so much for joining me. Well, a celebrity and ex-royal bully update. Now, I have been admonished in comments on my ex account saying, do not call Diddy just a mere bully. You should call him a sadistic coward. They feel that that would be more appropriate, and they might have a point. And it still may apply to both stories I'm going to tell in this video. I'll let you decide that. So the Diddy trial so far, there's been many standout moments. Of course, he stands trial, accused of sex trafficking and racketeering. Now, the core argument for the prosecution, delivered by Emily Johnson, a US assistant attorney, was that Combs was a serial abuser who ran a criminal enterprise for over 20 years. I found that gobsmacking. 20 years before he actually ended up in court accused of these crimes. Now, he's been accused of coercing women to participate in his freak-offs. And I don't think I have to go into detail about what a freak-off entails. I think that's been well reported. But what interests me is, how did he coerce? And according to the prosecution, by violence, blackmail, and drugs. Now, the defence attorney argued that Combs was not a criminal, but rather just a complicated man, and they framed the case as overreach into his public life. They claimed that he was just a swinger, that it was having these freak-offs with consenting adults. But of course, the surveillance video of the very brave Cassie Ventura trying to escape that hotel was always going to be a major showcased piece of evidence for the prosecution. And no matter how many times you see it, its horrible impact isn't diminished. The cruelty of some humans, it never ceases to amaze and disgust me. Daniel Phillip, a male stripper, testifies about being paid to have sex with Cassie Ventura while Combs watched and directed, with the ever-present baby oil and apparent role-playing. Now, what is it with the baby oil? This guy is truly just sick, isn't he? And rather weird. Phillips recounted violent episodes against Cassie, but he didn't report it at the time, which is such a pity. And I quote, he was scared of Combs's unlimited power. And when you hear the way he was, you can understand that unlimited power. Cassie Ventura's testimony was heartbreaking and raw. She very quietly just delivered the facts, in my opinion. She described how she couldn't leave these freak-offs because if she did, she was subjected to horrible violence and blackmail due to the fact that Combs was threatening to release the video footage he had taken of her, hence obviously the reasoning behind taking it in the first place. And also it really brings it rawly into focus why he didn't participate on camera. So there's Combs in the courtroom making heart signs to his family, which included his mother Janice and numerous children. Imagine having a son like that. I mean, no amount of money or luxury would make up for it, would it? Now, I would assume that many jurors would be aware of Combs's power and influence too, with suggestions on social media that Combs was attempting to influence the jurors. But that's impossible to verify. I have found no credible sources to sort of back up that claim. I think it's very much sort of a claim just running around X. So my estimation of the case so far, that it's a case of proving coercion versus consent, and with Cassie Ventura providing powerful and, in my opinion, so far, very credible and heartbreaking, like I said, evidence. It's always compelling though, isn't it, to see how the mighty fall. Here we have a man who was once a cultural icon facing possible life imprisonment. Now, talking about how the mighty have fallen, evidently the latest YouGov poll has shown that the Duke of Sussex's popularity, the petty, petulant Prince Harry in the UK, has plunged after his BBC interview. Now, like I said, the new YouGov poll shows that Prince Harry's favourability rating has dropped to 27%. It's the lowest it has ever been for more than 2 years, whereas the Duchess of Sussex has seen her popularity drop to 20%. It's lowest since YouGov began even tracking her popularity from 2017. They didn't bother tracking it prior to that because she wasn't anyone to track the year before she married into the royal family. No one in the UK knew who she was. So it couldn't happen to two nicer people, that plummeting of popularity. Plus a frontline headline from The Sun, which evidently is going to be published later on today, claiming that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are secretly supporting Brooklyn Beckham and wife Nicola Peltz amid their family row. And they had them over for dinner last week. The report states that the quartet dined at the Sussexes' mansion in Melodramacito, California, just days after Brooklyn skipped all of his dad David's 50th birthday celebrations. The standout quotes from the article was, Harry was fully aware of the situation and offered Brooklyn his unwavering support as someone who's been through similar, betraying your family and fighting with your brother and ruining all your family relationships and telling lies and believing a new wife over relationships you've held for many, many years. Yeah, I can see the similarity. The Duchess of Sussex and Nicola found common ground. Ooh, that's not good for Nicola. I don't think that says very good things about you, Nicola. If that's the case, I wouldn't want to be described as having common ground with Rachel. Let's just put it that way. After both were accused of wrecking their husband's family, sources told The Sun. Well, in Meghan's case, I think that's been proven beyond all reasonable doubt. For Nicola, I will reserve my judgment. I think it's a little bit too soon to tell. Now, as many have pointed out, sources are probably just Meghan, incandescent with rage that Catherine wore the Victoria Beckham pantsuit to deliver the British Fashion Award. I mean, you could hear the plates breaking, as we say, from over here. However, there is more to it than that. I think it just displays what vicious little vultures they are. Face it, they're circling a vulnerable family right now, a family that is obviously going through many unpleasant things. How many families do you think they have it in them to actually destroy? I think it might be boundless. It is obvious to me that the Beckham trouble is actually a fight between two brothers, so it does bear parallels between William and Harry, although it's very much a one-sided attack, I think, from Harry against William, not really two brothers fighting, and tensions over an ex-girlfriend that is apparently dating another brother. And so the apparent sensitivities of the new wife, Nicola, were highly offended by that. And there are reports that David and Victoria actually knocked back a private birthday meeting with both Brooklyn and Nicola because they didn't want to be around this ex-girlfriend of Brooklyn's and the other brother. And obviously, because David and Victoria, I think, have proved that they're very good parents and have quite a tight, cohesive family unit, I think they, knocked back the private meeting. I think I would do the same thing as a parent. I would say, no, I'm not going to take sides in this. I'm not going to have private meetings. I'm not going to have briefings against your brother. We're just all going to join together and celebrate Dad's birthday all together. We're going to put all our differences aside and have a great time. And of course, that just resulted in Brooklyn and Nicola chucking a hissy fit and not turning up. So I think it was very wise of David and Victoria not to be perceived as taking sides. And I feel for them, I really do. I'm sure they're intent on trying to keep their family unit strong and together. But the toxic Melodramacito duo just dropped themselves right into the mix. They can't help it, can they? And obviously their involvement is not going to help anybody. It's certainly just going to bring more toxicity to the drama. Maybe David needs to firmly tell the petty, petulant prince to just butt out. I wouldn't blame him if he did. I'll see you again very soon. Let me know your thoughts about all those stories down below. I'll be reading all the comments and I'll see you again soon. Bye.